Good evening, one and all present in this virtual session. I welcome you all to this webinar on prospects of academic libraries in India. And I am sincerely thanking all the participants to take active participation in this webinar. Before we begin, I would like to brief about the title which we have chosen for this webinar, that is Prospects of Academic Libraries in India. We all know that libraries play a very important role in academia, and not only in academia, in every uh, part of our academic journey, and which is very promising. If you see the future of academic libraries in India, you find it very promising, because there has been influence. Academic libraries have been influenced by several factors like advancement in technology, increased focus on digital resources, and also some of the evolving educational needs, which may include digital transformation, technology integration, virtual and augmented reality, artificial intelligence and machine learning, collaborative spaces, centric services, and research support, policy funding, and there are many more. Due to the advent of technology, we find that the libraries are serving the need of users. The libraries are playing a very major role to benefit the academic community. On this occasion, this particular webinar has been scheduled to discuss about the different prospects of academic libraries in India. And we have a very great personality today with us, Professor Lakshman Rao, from retired professor from Osmania University. And presently, sir is actively working in the capacity of President Telangana Library Association. I request all the participants to join my hand to welcome Sir to this webinar. Sir, we all welcome you to this webinar, and
Thank
we
you
are
very much.
highly thankful. We are highly thankful for accepting our invitation to deliver the talk and discuss the prospects of academic libraries in India. Without taking much of time, I request you, sir, to please take over the session and throw lights on the prospects of academic libraries in India. Over to you, sir.
Thank you very much, Dr. Pariji. Thank you very much for inviting me for this program. And I congratulate you for organizing such programs regularly, involving many people. And I'm sure that these webinars are going to be useful for many professionals, because many professionals, our professionals are trained, skilled, but still they miss a lot of things. And that is what is happening now. When you take an example of initially, when we talk about the library, we used to call trinity, that is the books and our documents, staff, and the users or a client. And this is it continuous, because the relationship between these three is very important in the context of the library and library services. But most importantly, when you talk about academic libraries in the country, most of our government schools, we don't have libraries. So this is the first place where the students or children start going to the library and learn. Then second is, even if somebody is joining into Kendriya Vidyalaya or into other corporate schools, unfortunately there is no proper training for them, because in the library science courses we are not teaching them anything related to how do you manage a school library, except certain norms have been prescribed by the NCRT. That is what they know regarding the collection, but unfortunately, they don't know what to do. For example, what do we do to encourage the child? You give a book, ask them to read, and then explain. So if they explain that, they will be able to learn, have language, solve the language problem. First thing. Second thing, the comprehension. Third is when they question, they will be able to think, analyze, and then answer. So a simple decision or simple activity in school will enable to learn a lot of things by the student or child. Unfortunately, we don't have. So naturally, what is happening when there is no library in the school, it has continued into the degree also. And we all know our system of education is so bad that we depend on one textbook. And when we say one textbook, The textbook, we depend on that. For example, if I look into the textbook which I studied for 50 years back, and today it is the same book except 30, 40 pages. So the question is, when you are talking about the textbook method, the libraries are undermined, not used, not supported, and not provided. Now, what is happening in the even engineering colleges also, at least in my, I can say in Telangana, every student is given 4 books which are related to 4 papers, and that fellow depends on only those 4 papers, and he never goes to the library. So that is how what is happening. We are undermining the libraries in the school, schools, and also even partly to the college. But when you go to the higher level, at the master's level or PhD level, you are forced to read, but they are not doing as much as they are expected. At least in research, when you talk about the research, they are supposed to read at least journal articles or some of the literature that they are going to study on the problem they are going to study. So therefore, libraries, first of all, availability, provision, and the second is, do we have services, and the third is how far they are being used. So only at the PhD level, of course, these days, unfortunately, you all know at the PhD level also a lot of things are happening. Ghost writers are there, and PhDs. I don't like to go into that, but these libraries, they are not available. And now what is happening, if you look into the university libraries, or take an example of IIT libraries, or take an example of NIT libraries, what is happening? The status of the librarian has been downgraded. Why? Similarly, you take an example of the universities. There are a number of universities where librarian posts are vacant. Such a type of impression that it gives? The administrators feel that first thing is there is no need for the library. The reasons they know much better than us, and they think that second is the librarians, in spite of the fact that they have the skills, they are not publicizing their services. And the third is they are doing most of the libraries. I'm not talking about the university libraries, most of the libraries, including public libraries. The library staff does only one: issue the book and take the book. So one of the director of public libraries in our state, he was saying, why do you need MPhil, PhD? Because you are giving a book and taking the book. So naturally, what happens? That gives a bad impression. Today, what is happening? The information is doubling up every 12 hours. So naturally, when so much of knowledge is, so much of information is being grown, we have a problem of storage. We have a problem of identification of the relevant documents. Then we have to provide the access to the relevant document. It's not easy for the librarian. He struggles. And several times what they are saying, what the librarian does, we are getting an remote access, we are getting the resources. I give them an example. When you take an example of a movie, the hero sings a song and dances, and everybody appreciates the hero and heroine. But the actually hero is not singing the song. Hero has not written the song. Hero, he doesn't know how to dance. He is being taught by choreographer, and director is there. So many things, so many people behind the dance. One single song of a hero heroine. There are many people are there. So unfortunately, what we are giving credit only to hero or heroine, but not to others. Similarly, I generally say, when you talk about the library and library services, behind the service, behind whatever you are accessing, sitting at your house or at your department or at your classroom, is because of the librarian. So librarian, they are doing all background work, which is helping you to naturally give the possibility of access to the resources. And now slowly what is happening, the unfortunately or fortunately, the people started thinking internet is there. I'm talking about the administrator. I'm talking about, not talking about the librarians. Everything is available. So why should we worry about spending so much money for purchase of the books? And why should we spend so much salaries for appointing the staff? And today, I'm sure most of you must be knowing that there are no librarians in many universities. May take an example of my own university. I think must be 25 years onwards. There is no librarian, or maybe 30 years. Though there is no librarian, only some assistant librarian becomes in charge librarian. Now, what happens? What is the implication? Implication is the assistant librarian cannot go to the vice chancellor. He will not be able to talk in equal terms. He will not be able to demand or defend the services and the funding that he is asking. So naturally, what happens? The librarian is not in a position to demand, and the vice chancellor, who is not knowing what type of things have to be done in the library, he demand he dominates. So therefore, what is happening? The libraries are, unfortunately, in spite of the fact that we have skilled program, skilled people, we are not in a position. And most important, when you look into these things, I would touch few things. One of them is digital involvement, digital transformation, or digital use. Now, this has brought us revolutionary change, and naturally, when you talk about the information, the digital transformation. Now, the sources, what I spoke about the books and documents. Now they are available in digital form. Of course, still we use e-book, e-journal, but all of them are in digital mode. So information sources. Now, information sources, when you talk about subscribe, free, and open access, there are three things are there. Why I am talking about subscribe? Because whatever generally we are relevant, we buy it. And when you talk about the free, out of the copyright, there which are not copyright, and which are so many documents are available on internet. And the third one is open access. At the time of publishing, they follow the open access norms, very well, where they can be easily, without any problem, they can download, they can use, they can transfer, and that can be done. So, and then at the same time, earlier people were sitting there in the library and looking into the secondary sources. Today, we are not in a position to sit there, and we are not in a position to subscribe for the lot of secondary sources. Earlier secondary sources, now they have changed. Now everybody is impressing or pressurizing on Scopus, Web of Science, such documents, and where we thought of other documents like Encyclopedia of Social Sciences, Encyclopedia of Britannica has gone now, Encyclopedia Americana, those things were there. Now they are no more there. So what is happening? Information sources. Now, when they come in the digital form, we have a few advantages and a few disadvantages. One of the best advantages is searching is easy. And the second is copying is easy. I mean, downloading is easy if the subject to the permission by the publisher and vendor. And that is most possible. Earlier, when we want to search for certain information, we were really struggling in the print media. But in the case of of course, at that time we were using the index. I'm sure you remember the index. Now you don't need the index at all. Now you search with the keyword or ask for the hyperlink. Then automatically you will be able to get the information wherever it may be. So that is one important advantage for us in the digital source. Then at the same time, we used to call interlibrary loan. I don't know now where is the term. I don't know where is the term. The term has totally disappeared. Why? Because in those days, interlibrary loan means getting a book from one library to other library, make use and send it. Then subsequently, when the software digital media has come, what we were doing, we were taking, and I'm talking initial stages, we were taking them a print out and then sending through the fax. Then subsequently transfer of the page, transfer of the document. And now today we can transfer the document without any problem. So therefore, what is happening? The things have changed in such a way that some of the terminology has also disappeared. For example, we used to say SDI, we used to say CAS. Where is CAS? Where is SDI today? We don't use the terminology. The reason is today you can access sitting anywhere, and you can search for your document and use. So naturally, the SDI CS what we were talking is also disappeared. But still, for a historical purpose, we still say what is CAS and SDI. I'll just give a funny example of CAS and SDI. Generally, these things are used in the time of marketing. When somebody I asked what is this, why do we need marketing of the resources? First of all, if somebody wants, you can provide. But why marketing? Marketing because we want to attract them. by telling that we have the resource which you are looking for. That is what the marketing people say. But I would like to say it is an advocacy where you are trying to say these are the resources available. You make use and you will be able to get benefit. This is what I say advocacy or publicity. And but still our people don't agree. Now, when you talk about the marketing or advocacy, I will give an example. I was asking some of my colleagues, what is the difference? What is the difference between a information product and service? People get confused. They say product is this, product is that, product is service is this, service that. I was giving a best example. I said, take an example, you go to hotel, ask for a thali, right? And he charges 100 rupees and gives a thali where 2 roti, chawal, 2 sabji, thoda sambar, thoda curd. And you say that we have given brinjal vegetable, I don't eat, you give me some other vegetable. He won't give it. He says, this is the thali. आपको 100 रुपए दे रहे हैं, आप 100 रुपए में यही खाइए, खाइए मत खाइए, छोड़ दीजिए. But we don't give any extra. Say, what is this exactly? Take an example of chemical abstracts. No, I am only looking into organic chemistry, so I don't want remaining things. You give me at 50% rate, he won't give. He says you have to buy everything. Whether you use 2%, 5%, 20%, or 100%, we are not bothered. So a product which is given for many people, many users, just like a CAS, where in several departments are there, in whatever CAS, the journal articles or journal content pages were circulated. It was keeping in mind of all the department and all the scholars. That was for everybody. So similarly, this is also information product is created and supplied to keeping in mind many people. I was giving another example of a service. You go to a hotel, ask them, I want a dosa. For example, because I'm a South Indian, I'm telling you a dosa. Then you say, I want double butter, I want more onion, I want ginger. So many prescriptions I give it. And then he makes that and accordingly he will charge. So similarly, what we are doing SDI means we were taking an example of an individual scholar and we were trying to identify what is his requirement. Based on his requirement, we were supplying the information. So that is how, what happens if you change the structure, if you go for an individual demand, that becomes a service. So this is actually our people use marketing. These are the two terminology, information product and service is being used. So what is happening now? Everywhere, there is no chance because directly the user is going to search for the document, and search for the information he is looking for. And we have also definitely different secondary sources, as I said, like Web of Science or Scopus or other documents like citation index, etc. So these things help them to identify what they are doing. Now you are able to see also another important thing, like in Scopus, what is the index of an individual author, how many articles are being published by an institution, what is the grading. So many statistics and so much of data can be generated from Scopus or Web of Science. So they have become much more important these days. So what I'm trying to talk is, when you talk about the sources are maybe journal, or maybe a book, or maybe a free, or maybe open access. Today, I'm sure you are aware, more than 50% of the journal articles are under open access. And when you talk about the open access, I'm sure you remember Plan Yes. And then also, you Plan Yes, everything they wanted to put into open access. And that unfortunately, it has not gone to the full steam in Europe. But there was some changes were there. For example, they were paying for 5% extra. And instead of paying APC, they were allowed to publish the articles in the journals of the publisher. So this is 5%, they were in a position to avoid APC. And today, the things have much more changed. What is the change? See, I'm sure we were talking about today reprint. I don't know where the word has gone, reprint now. In those days, when you publish an article, they were giving 10 reprints. Send it to your friend. But today, if you publish an article, they are not giving any reprints. But they say you cannot transfer or you cannot give it to any of your friend or anybody. But some of the publishers, they give two places. One is you can store in your website or your institutional website. That is what they are giving. But now, instead of that now another thing has come. Instead of reprint, now uh, we have got something else. Can anybody say what is that? Reprint and preprint. Sorry, right? Preprint. What is the preprint? Preprint, I'm sure you know there are more than 80 portals are there. Any journal article, if you send it to a journal, they will take 6 months to 1 year. And they also charge APC if it is open access. Even if it is not open subscribed, they will take any time, anywhere between 6 months to 1 year. And some of the journals take more time. So what is happening in the meanwhile, within 6 months, somebody else publishes your data, and then in a small journal, like a local journal in India, and then he claims that the research output is by him, but not by a particular scholar. So now what is happening with that? The problem comes, the scholar who is really genuinely working, his claim of research output is lost. So therefore, you can store on any of the portals, because these portal 80, more than 80 plus portals, they are based on the subject wise. And in these subject wise portals, what happens if you store in one of the portal, and it can be seen by anybody, it can be read by anybody, and then after it can be edited. There is also another advantage in this thing, and it can be edited any number of times. For example, today I put it in that preprint. Tomorrow I find little changes, I can change. Then after 1 month I can change more till it is published. Now what happens? The data that is going to be published as an article after 6 months, after 1 year, now you are getting it in your hands. Now, what do you mean by that? The article which is likely to be published in after 6 months or 1 year, you are getting it free of cost. But only thing, once it is published, once it is edited and published by the journal, you have to pay to access. You have to subscribe, or you have to pay for accessing that particular article. Or if it is open access, you can get it. Now, the latest one in preprint is, the funniest one is, recently the one of the most important agency, or Bill Gates agency, what they said, if once it is published in preprint, we don't care whether it is published in the journal or not. They say once it is published in preprint, we need not pay APC, we need not publish as an open access, and once it is published in preprint, that stands good. So what is going to happen with this? Tomorrow, all those which are printed in preprint, they may be happy with the preprint, and they may not go for paying APC, and they may not worry for the journal articles. Now the publishers are in dilemma. What is to be done? If an agency like Bill Gates agency, which says that if it is published in preprint, we are happy with that. We are not bothered whether you publish in a journal or not. So now what happens? The publishing industry, they get difficulty because people may not publish in the journals. So what is going to happen? We have to see next two to 3 years. The things are going to be changed. Now in the here, I may also say one of the most important things that we are able to find here is consortia, right? When you are talking about the, why I'm talking about this, I'm talking about the journals, right? So when you are talking about the journals, you have to think about the consortia. Unfortunately, we have so many consortia, and you must be knowing that a particular resource, if you are purchasing by CSR consortia, the rate is different by another IIT consortia or NIT consortia or some other consortia. They don't accept. So that is why earlier the advisor to the Prime Minister, he said that we will have ONOS. And unfortunately, it has not taken up. Now, ONOS, people quote that it is happening elsewhere. In Egypt, there are 27 institutions are there. All of the government purchases for 27 institutions, and they say one nation, one subscription. So, but in India, we have so many institutions, and everybody is buying. So, why a publisher want to lose the money? Instead of supplying to so many people, making money out of supply, why he will give one to the government? And unfortunately, we are not in a position to find. The most important factor is that in Egypt or other places, it is only given to limited number of libraries. But here we are talking about free to everybody. That may not happen. Fortunately, recently, the director of InflipNet, who joined recently, she said, met the minister and said, no publisher would like to lose the money. So therefore, we have to look for alternative, but not the way we are talking about ON, OS is possible. And she has intelligently put forward this. I should appreciate her for her gesture. Otherwise, वो लटक रहा था इतने सालों 2 साल से और वो कुछ भी नहीं होता था. And now she has done. She has put the in right perspective the truth. So therefore, that is one area. And the consortia also, I'm sure you are aware. Earlier, it was given by UGC. Now the strategy of the government of India changed. They are saying we'll give the money as an advance, spend, return. You make the money, earn money. One thing. Second, they are not giving the way they were giving the journals and books earlier. They are no more giving that. So now what is happening? It has become much more difficult. So therefore, what is happening? Both the books and journals, the libraries, especially central government libraries or central government central university libraries are suffering for want of the support by the government of India and UGC. Of course, they say they are giving it, but to be frank, they are not giving such support as they were giving earlier. So now the question is, when you talk about the information sources, these are the two types generally what we look for, the books as well as. Now, when you look into what is happening now, we are talking about the information access. When you are talk about the sources, immediately the user looks for the access. What do we do access? How do we access? Is it possible? Unless you subscribe, is it possible? What do we do? But there are so many websites out there. Unfortunately, most of our librarians are not aware. Even if they are aware, they are not in a position to give the access, or they are not in a position to give guidance to the scholars. How do they access? For example, you take websites of Aligarh Muslim University or Delhi University, they are listing them. The listing them will not help the user to understand. For example, they are giving what is it? DOAJ. What do they understand by DOAJ? See, the university has to identify out of DOAJ 10 journals, 20 journals, 30 journals, and they must give a free access. But DOAJ means what do they understand? So this is all the problem is not because of the librarian inefficiency. It is because of lack of staff. Today, I'm sure you must be knowing Delhi University system has more than 150 vacancies out there. I'm sure you must be aware. How can they run the show? When the staff is not there, how can they run the show? That is where the problem is coming up. So therefore, when you talk about the information access, we must provide the free, for example, I'm sure pdfdrive.com, which gives about 85 million books, which are freely accessible. You know the journals, the books, there are so many, or the textbooks are there, right? There are journals are there, articles are there, right? There are so many websites are there, I'm sure most of you must be aware. And the only thing is how we will be able to publicize. This is practically this is missing. If we are able to do this, provide them access by educating them, then probably they will understand. I give a bad example. We have a lot of resources, right? It is like a jaggery गुड़. उसको गुड़ को डब्बे में रखे तो मक्खियां नहीं आते, बट जब डब्बा निकालते हैं तो मक्खियां बहुत आते हैं. So you have so much of knowledge, so much of resource, but you are not publicizing. That is why people are not coming. Of course, use of the library has come down. I'm sure you all agree with me. So therefore, information access is very important. When they access, when they read, when they understand, when they make use, they will come repeatedly to the library. So information access is one of the most important. How do you provide access? Are you able to provide remote access? Are you able to provide the documents which are not available at free of cost or which are not subscribed, getting from outside the library? And unfortunately, I generally give an example to the college libraries. Of course, now they are subscribing for Enlist. and they are subscribing, but use is almost 1%, 1 or 2%. I'm sure the Infonet must be able to give us the data, but I don't know exactly data. But Enlist is not being used by many people, and Enlist is it gives thousands of articles, sorry, thousands of journal access to journals and also books, e-books, and just by paying around 4,000 rupees by the institutions which are under 12B, they will be in a position to get free access just by 4 5,000. I think, I'm sure it must be 5,000. Maybe now it must have become 6,000. I don't know, but it gives you free access. Now, why are we not using them in the colleges? At the same time, I generally tell in the colleges one simple thing. For example, you take Telangana. I talk about the making a group, a WhatsApp group or a Yahoo group. Now Yahoo group is not the Gmail group, and all of them join. Today, if I look for one, because the syllabus is same for all the colleges in the state. So if I find a document which is free of cost or which is accessible, then I can share to my librarians, which can be ultimately librarians can share to them. So this is what we are talking about, cooperation, right? Or library resource sharing, whatever you may call. Earlier we were talking about cooperation, interlibrary loan, but now we are talking about resource sharing. So what resource sharing, what we can do in resource sharing? When I am getting the information, why can't I share to other fellow librarians so that it can be publicized to others? And then also it doesn't end there. See, we must also provide what we are talking about, the not one document. There are regular meeting, regular interaction about the accessibility of new resources which are not subscribed by these colleges is most essential. So looking into this, you are in a position to provide access which are not known, because the teachers, you can't expect a teacher to know what is being published. It is impossible. So therefore, what happens? They depend on the librarian, and librarian, actually generally I say, a student goes to either principal or library. He may skip the class, but if he is interested, if he knows that the library can help him in learning, and he will come to the library every day, and if only in the case of administrative need, he will go to the principal. Otherwise, he may skip the college. We have experimented in the junior college. Junior college means plus two college, that we were putting in the notice board. This is the mock test is going to be there on so and so the date. This is the question paper published in the newspaper about the entrance examination, right? So such things we were trying to give them, and trust me, every student used to come to the library and spend at least half an hour at the notice board, and some of them were entering. They were skipping the class, but they were coming to the library. So this is somewhere we have to identify some ways and means so that the students will be able to make use of the library, and for which we have to play a key role in identifying the methods of that. So therefore, the information access plays a key role. Information access only helps the build the relationship between the library and the user. Then this is one area where we have to give importance. And when you want to give information access, you should also know what are the requirements. This is very important. What are the requirements? When you talk about what are the requirements, generally we know most of the cases in the up to BA, MA level, because the syllabus is there. But when it comes to the PhD level, the things may change. Now, when you talk about the PhD level, I may go a little ahead after that. Then another important area is storage. Earlier, I can give an example in Indian Institute of Chemical Technology. Earlier, the bound volumes were put in the 3 big halls. Now everything is available on the desk of every scientist. They are not going into the library to look for the journal articles. So they don't know what to do. 3 big halls full of journals. They don't know what to do. See, now what is happening? Storage earlier, every 5 years they were in need of a new room, new shelves, new staff to clean, staff to arrange, etc. Now we don't need all that. Why? Because everything is available online. Of course, subject to the subscription. So storage, one is this. Second is storage in your own computer or your server, where it is not difficult to buy extra storage capacity. So this is where the storage has become much easier. And the only thing with most of the cases, there is a big question mark. Somebody says, when a free resource is there, should we download and store in our server, or should we give a hyperlink? Because some of the resources which are available online, you know, sci-fi, right? That today you can access, tomorrow it may not be accessible, because the publishers are behind them. So what they are doing, they are trying to change the URL frequently. In that case, sometimes the document may not be available. If you want, you can download, but it's not possible to download so many millions of documents. So therefore, we have to only give hyperlink. And in that case, we will not be we don't need so much storage as we are expecting, because total internet resources we will not be able to download and keep it with us. There is another important factor which I found practically. For example, in MBA, AICT says you have to subscribe minimum of 2 lakhs worth of resources every year. Now the question comes, most of the librarians, they are not aware how to provide access, right? They are saying, if journal is there, go to the publisher website and do it. Now, how do they go to publisher? How many times the librarian can help? So generally, I was just suggesting use the record document or catalog, create a different, a separate field, and put the URL. Once the user looks into the details, if he clicks into the URL, he will directly go to the publisher website, and then he will be able to see the document or book or whatever it is. And but unfortunately, what is happening, because of lack of experience, lack of motivation, lack of skill, these 2 lakhs worth of books, at least I know 5 libraries in Hyderabad, with which I am associated. The librarian doesn't know, and the people don't use those 2 lakhs worth of journals and books. It's unfortunate. So what I'm trying to say is, when you are there, the librarian must also know how do we provide a link, right? Otherwise, at least create a particular folder and put a folder subject wise, and then let them go to the folder and use it. But the best method is using the catalog and use the separate field, and then give the URL. Once they click the URL, they will be able to go, because internet access automatically linked. So what I'm trying to say, all this comes under access. Similarly, as I was talking just some time back, enlist. People are not getting, because the lack of publicity. We are talking about what marketing, we are talking lack of publicity. At least the librarian must sit with the teacher of the concerned teacher and identify at least 1 or 2 books or journals which are useful to the people, because they have to write the dissertation in masters. But unfortunately, you know what is happening tomorrow. Already AI has come. AI is able to give you all sorts of facilities, all sorts of activity, and where do we stand? And already there is a big crisis using the artificial intelligence in writing the articles and writing the dissertations, etc. And earlier, I'm sure you must be aware that 46% of the articles, 45 to 46% of the articles, they were getting the, marks they were getting out of 100 in majority, but otherwise they were not getting more than 50% of the marks when they wrote the assignments using the artificial intelligence. Now, this is what I'm talking about: information access and storage. There is also one more important thing, that information literacy. Earlier, we were talking about user education. I don't know how many of you remember, because the younger generation, they may not be knowing a lot of terminology which we used to do. As I said, CAS, SDI, right? And also, we are talking about user education. Right now, user education is where you tell them how to make use of the library and access the library resources. And the information literacy is very important. It is providing the literacy not only the library resources, but also outside the library resources. That is very important. How do you search? What is the Boolean logic? How do you use the keywords? How many keywords you can use? How do you search the document? All those things are very essential. But unfortunately, and I'm sure up to the master's level, not many people provide this information literacy program, because the librarians, the students themselves are not interested unless the library makes an attempt to attract them. Generally, I give an example in the colleges. See, when a physical director, I'm sure you know, he works for 1 week or he works for 10 days. साल के एंड में पूरा गेम 10 दिन चलाता है और 200 सर्टिफिकेट देता है. People लोग think, oh, what a wonderful work the physical director is doing. But librarian works every day, from morning to evening. The teacher may teach and go away, but the librarian has to sit. But how many certificates you are giving a good student, a frequent student, or a student who coming and taking the books and returning in time? These things are we giving a certificate? We never give the certificate. Why? Why not? You encourage so that some people may be able to feel that I'm going to get certificate because I'm using them. So it's a type of a strategy we have to prepare so that the students and the teachers do come up. Then similarly, attracting the students is very, very key. I can give an example. Everybody reads an example of it. Take an example of a book of Bryophyta or Pteridophyta. The same book which is prescribed by the teacher, they want it. If 3 copies are there, after 3, 4th person will never come. But once you have a small game, ask them in Bryophyta which is the latest book. We'll give a prize. So there are 20 books are there. Everybody looks into the Bryophyta, then the year of publication, then they say this is the book which is having latest book. So what happens? They understand, oh, why one book? There are 20 books are there in Bryophyta. So somebody may start using the book which is not recommended by the teacher. So we have to play all sorts of games. Once it is like दारू एक बार पिया 2 बार पिया कैसा फील कर रहा मगर 5 बार पिया तो भाग के शाम में पिएगा. Similarly, once a library comes into the library, enjoys the information access, enjoys the benefit of information, he will come repeatedly whether he has time or not. It becomes a habit, right? Gaining, learning and getting the knowledge is much more habit. I mean, a difficult habit, which hardly it goes out. So therefore, the initial stages, how do we make them is very important. Then that's where information literacy plays a key role. Then also we have to play certain games as a librarian to initiate them, to motivate them. There are a lot of things are there. These are the things that we ask them to do in the school libraries. Now, when you talk about the facilities, we are talking about library functioning, right? Now, the library functioning has changed a lot because of the digital transformation. Now, unfortunately, the library functioning, library education, skills, these are closely related. I'll give an example. To take an example of cataloging, right? Now, what are we doing with cataloging? Copy cataloging. How many schools are teaching you? It is not there in the net. It is not there in the syllabus. It is, therefore, nobody is teaching. But the student who completes the masters, he doesn't know what is copy catalog. He has to go to the library and Tripathi ji ke paas jaake seekhna padega. That means what education we are giving. We are talking about ALA, AA, 1902, 1949, 1947. Why? They are giving so much of things. And you can just say history of cataloging codes. Just one question. Now, when they are writing ALA, AACR, AA code, and RDC, what is happening? All these things. People are questioning on that. The examiner questions only on that. Because that fellow, the examiner also knows only those things, right? Because an old man like me, I don't know what is an RDC, I don't know what is AACR, I don't know what is this. So I ask questions on that. So what happens, the syllabus creation is very important. When I spoke to the department, they say the student has to pass to the net. So we depend on the net. I was responsible for in 2001 to create the 8th and 9th unit on technology, where with me 3 people were there. They said, we don't know anything. I said, sir, somewhere we have to start. Then automatically 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, they may struggle, but after 2-3 years, they will automatically learn and teach. This is what I was talking. Ultimately, Three people they have agreed, and they told 8 and 9 unit. You prepare. In 2001, I prepared. Now till today, I saw the units have been not changed. I'm sure you must have been knowing that recently Delhi University conducted a written test for the assistant librarian post. If you have seen the syllabus that is given, not even a single item is being taught in the universities. Not even a single item. So how the student who passes masters will be able to get through the examination and get the position? See what we are doing. Where is the education? We are not changing anything. Yeah, when I spoke to the people, अरे कौन सीखेगा साहब जो है वो चलने दीजिए. And I'm sure, I'm sorry to say that some of the universities, I know one university where 500 students sit in the hall, somebody speaks in the mic, and it's a private university. If you write examination, you will get 70%, minimum 70%. So what is happening? So naturally, the good people, they are being actually in the regular university, if they learn, for example, in maybe Delhi University, BHU or Aligarh, where the students struggle, learn, they get 60%, 55%, 65%. But the student who doesn't know anything, he gets 75%. And naturally, 75% is being treated as a merit. They don't bother from where the institution, which institution they have come up. So the education, it has become much more difficult. Unless we radically modify the library science education in India, we will not be able to survive. Survive in the sense, today, I'm sure you know, I was just talking about the interaction, on the basis of the interaction with the many libraries in the colleges. They don't know a lot of things. Unfortunately, they don't know a lot of things. Now, you take an example of library software. They talk about the fields, then changing issue system, all those things. But how many of you have worked practically? How many of them worked practically looking into RFID? When they go for the visits, they don't go to the library, they go to the museum, cinema halls, and shopping. See, we introduced in 2002 or 2003, I think, we have introduced internship. 2 months. And we made in such a way that the grading ABCD will be put into the memorandum marks, but this will be given by the librarian, where the student goes. Why? You may ask me a question. The reason is, if we don't give a control to the librarian, they don't care the librarian, they don't go, ultimately come back. So therefore, we have given a control to the librarian. Librarian, on the basis of the performance and the attendance, he will be able to give ABCD, and this will not be calculated for the class, but it is only indicates ABCD, right? So that is how we have to think, how we will be able to motivate, how we will be able to make use. Unfortunately, as I told you, the skills, lack of skills is creating a lot of problems in the management of the university or college libraries. School libraries much more worse. I'm sorry, they are learning by themselves, because if some orientation is given by Kendriya Sangathan, they are learning. But otherwise, in the colleges, in the universities or in the departments, we don't teach ABCD of school library, because when you handle the children, you must be having a talent to attract the children and make them to use the libraries regularly. But we don't have the skills unless they learn. Similarly, as I was talking about the copy cataloging, there are many more things. We are talking about Koha. How many staff know how do you install the Koha? If somebody is doing, we are able to do it, but installation is also very important, right? If you say RFID, how many people have seen RFID? We are talking about examinations, somebody writes, but have you seen the RFID? What is the chip? How do you data? How you will be able to issue? How you will be able to return? And how many books you can put on the table to issue at one point of time? We don't know. We just say RFID, security, this, that, P, it gives a signal, it gives a sound, but nothing more. How many people students have seen it? Now, what happens, they have to come back to the library, and the library, they have to learn in the library. And library, that's why I say, librarian is a teacher of teachers. He is not just a teacher of teachers, because he also teaches the students, he also teaches these library science students, he also teaches the teachers where to identify the resources, etc. Now, that's why the curriculum needs to be changed. It may be issue system, it may be because the things are changing. Where earlier, I'm sure you must be remembering in the foreign exchange, right? There used to be a system where the committee used to be there, and the conversion rate was given by that committee. Now everybody is using bank rate, right? And when you are buying now, I'm sure most of you know, buying the books also. Some people are saying if you buy the whole package, we'll give you. We don't give you 4 5 books, and if you want to 5 books, you have to pay extra double. Otherwise, buy the whole package, where they give you out of that 30% of the books are which are useless. Nobody buys it. Now, how do we handle? How many types of conferences are discussing these issues? No, they come, they speak. I went there, I came here, I did this library, that library, some nonsense things, but they never do that. So therefore, what is happening in the conferences also? They are not discussing the real issues which are being faced by the libraries. And ultimately, what happens? I got recently one example. Somebody bought the journals, and that librarian has been. I mean, he left that, resigned and left. A new librarian came. The publisher came and asked, "You have to pay me 10 lakhs." I said, "Why?" "No, last before year the rate was this, and you have given this rate, so you pay the 10 lakhs." And this new librarian is a very intelligent fellow. He said, "Sorry, that has gone. I don't bother about what has to be given. I don't accept. You should have asked at that time. You should have demanded that." That means there is some underhand dealing with the accounts department and the publisher, where after 2 years he is asking 10 lakhs of rupees because they bought two crore worth of resources. So the what is every publisher tries to play. Even I'm sure you must be knowing the historically the purchase of the books. In foreign books, you don't find the price. When I try to see, for example, earlier, I don't know how many of you have an idea, IBH used to be there. India Book House used to be there. There were two brothers who were there. They were buying the books from America and sending to India. And what they were doing, for example, in America, if the book is costing $20, after 1.5 year or 1 year, that book is sold for $5 or $3, because they don't want to keep right. अपने पास क्या है, एक घर ले लेके उसके अंदर डाल के लॉक कर देते. वहां पर ऐसा नहीं. You have to pay insurance, you have to pay rent, you have to pay interest, so many things. That's why what they do after 1 year or 1.5 year, they dispose of. So that fellow buys that $3 book and comes and sells here for $20. बिकॉज वी डोंट हैव वो जमाने में बुक्स इन प्रिंट, ब्रिटिश बुक्स इन प्रिंट आता था, मगर वो 1.5 साल के बाद 2 साल के बाद आता था. तो 1.5 साल के 2 साल के बाद, ये तो 1.5 साल के बाद वही पुराना रेट वो $20 ही बेच रहा है. एक्चुअली ही गॉट $3. Now today what is happening, you will be able to get the right price online from the publisher or from the vendor or from other sources. So now what is happening, the online system has helped us to identify the exact price of the book, prevailing price, exact prevailing price. So the library used to face a lot of problems earlier days. I know a lot of, at least I when I was working in Warangal as a librarian, I blacklisted 2 people. Actually, the cost of the book is $125. He put me as at $195. We said, okay, give it. We have not processed. In the meanwhile, somebody else came. He says, आप खरीदे हैं क्या? बोले हाँ, अभी तो खरीदे नहीं, वो दे के गया है. तो मैंने पूछा कितना रेट है? वो बोल रहा $125 है. I was shocked because it was the other fellow quoted $195. See, this is what they were doing. But today, thanks to the technology, we are in a position to know exact price on that particular day. So what is happening? The education system, library science education system needs drastic change. Why you should learn everything? When I take an example of MBA student, he learns first year general, second year he goes into 2 subjects like marketing and finance. Why can't we think about all those things? And in the last semester or last 2 semesters, you learn only like automation, where you have 2 papers, 3 papers, and information retrieval or something, what you call institutional repositories. Identify 2, 3 subjects, learn them there. I was suggesting 2, 3 people who were asking me. I said in every semester, you take 1 paper, one subject, make it 2 papers or 3 papers. For example, library automation. You make one practice and two theory, where you give emphasis on the data, how do you enter the data, where do you get the data, all those things, right? And then in the second semester, you take another subject. Third semester, you take another subject. Like that, 4 subjects, once he goes out, he must be ready to help the librarian, but not struggle because he doesn't know anything, right? So there are many more things. What we want is what you look into the syllabus. What everything that they know, they have included. Is it really necessary? Within the limited time, is it possible for us to learn every damn thing? Because the examiner poses lots of questions. Because the moment he looks into the word, he poses the question. So these things are, that is why we have to be very cautious while preparing the syllabus. But what we do, we take the net. And net government, EGC or the net examination, etc., they don't bother all these things because we are under the influence of the technology, and we are forced to use the technology because publishers are coming with newer and newer techniques and newer tools, and we are forced to accept the newer and newer tools, and we have to learn and we have to implement. Then another important area that we are talking about is uh, we are talking about translation, indexing, etc. Now I'm sure most of you are using the Facebook, where you get the translation. Even on Google also you get the translation. So earlier, when I was a student, they were telling you learn English, German language, you learn French language, because if you join into science, special library, now we don't need all those things. Everything technology is providing. And as I was just talking about some time back, information sharing or information transfer. I just suggested in the college libraries we join together, share the idea. And also at the higher level, at the national level, we build the relationship with some of the libraries, form a small group, and they let them mutually, even though it is not acceptable under the what you call subscription norms. What you know, like a copyright. We are also talking about digital rights. Under the digital rights, they may not accept, but still, one or two you can do it. So therefore, information transfer, you have to plan how we will be able to do. And another most important thing is you will get the statistics immediately. This is the biggest advantage. The statistics help us to identify which journal, which book is being used. Earlier, it was not like that. A recommendation was given for 10 books. And for unfortunately, the person who recommended, he also never touched the book. But now everything comes under statistics. If it is not being used, to stop the subscription. Why not? Why should you waste? You go for some other subscription. But unfortunately, we don't have guts because the librarians totally depend upon the heads of the departments. And then also the use. I wanted to tell you one or two funny things. In US, a book is published, sold to individuals, but not sold to the libraries up to 6 months. You'll be surprised to know. Why? Because after 6 months, people buy the book, read the book, and they may not use the book in the library. So now what happened in 2 states, including New York State, the court has given a decision that you must sell the book to the libraries as on the day you sell the book to individuals. Imagine how the publishers, they play the game, right? So now the only 2 states in US, they have the privilege of buying the public libraries, buying the book on the day the book is released in the market, right? So imagine what type of things are happening. And then the data, as you know, the most important is copyright problems. And generally, I give a funny example. If you remember Mahabharata, Ashwatthama Hata Hata Kunjara, right? And somebody asks, I want to copy this book, sir. Say, no, you can't do it. But slowly you say, Jaake kar lo, go and do it. But don't make it publicity. Because I have seen in the US and UK, they put big posters. Photocopying the whole book is against the Copyright Act. You will be punished. But you see hundreds and thousands of people, they photocopy the whole book. Because we can't buy the 30 pounds or $30. And if you photocopy, it comes to $2 or £2. So everybody used to do photocopying. All the machines are busy throughout the day because everywhere it is self-operated. So what I'm trying to say is we have to understand our financial condition, financial status, and therefore legally nowhere you give in writing what you must do it. Then another important development that we are able to find. त्रिपाठी जी कब तक ले सकता हूँ मैं? Every people should not get
Sir,
bored.
no,
कब
sir.
तक?
It is up to you, and the session is really very interesting. So we are all
Okay,
enjoying,
sorry.
sir. No one is getting bored.
Right.
Please
Okay.
continue. Ji,
Right.
sir.
Now, I wanted to tell you the developments. Like an example, digital libraries. Today we are talking about DLI, Digital Library of India here. Every day you find, hundreds and thousands number increases. Are they buying it? No. The institutional repositories available in different institutions, they are linking them, right? And they are linking with the DLI. So, for example, if my university has, let's say, 10,000 documents, if they link automatically, 10,000 number increases, right? So, therefore, DLI, this is created on the lines of Digital Public Library of America. What they did, Digital Public Library of America, everywhere there are so many libraries are there. So they try to collect the data. They harvested, we use the word harvested, and then put into a proper way. You search that particular catalog, and once you buy the book, you click there, it will give hyperlink to the library where it is stored, right? And same thing is happening with the DLI. And most of them are institutional repositories, right? So therefore, digital library. But one thing during the corona, they identified the books exclusively for the college, for the children, etc. That is what they have done. That was really good. And then there is also one more, which Virtual Library of India. There is a Minister of Culture gave a project to the IIT Mumbai. Unfortunately, I wrote a letter to the government also. They ate away money. They did not do anything. But recently, another director has come. He influenced, and they got another 600 or 700 crores. They have done nothing. Important fort in my state are not listed. Right? This is under the Minister of Culture. So there is one, that is another important thing. But I would like to say, when you talk about the academic libraries, institutional repositories are also very important. We all know DSpace is used for institutional repository, right? Same thing is used for digital library, almost same. Absolutely, institutional repository means it is only the scope is up to your institution, right? And that helps a lot for that. Then we also have one important source for all of us, InfluBnet, right? InfluBnet, because why I'm talking about InfluBnet, InfluBnet has an advantage of support from the Ministry of Education, where they are trying to give you lots of services. I'm sure you know different type of services that are being provided. I need not tell you all that. One is the document delivery service, and second is Consortia, then database, catalog, common catalog. Then they also have Enlist. Enlist is also being provided by them. IRINS, ShareNe, ILMS. So many things are there, right? And they are able to, including the soul software, they are able to provide the facilities for most. This is only exclusively for academic libraries. Now, I just wanted to give one example. Last 3-4 years back, I was talking to the chairman of the Telangana State Council of Higher Education. I said an example. In Osmania University is 30 kilometers away from Jawaharlal Nehru Technological University. A student of Osmania University is staying nearby JNTU, and a student of JNTU staying nearby Osmania University. Why can't the student JNTU use in Osmania? Why can't a Osmania student use in JNTU? This is why. All of them are government institutions. All of them are students of the one institution or not. Give them an ID card. give them a library card, let them come and use. So similarly, colleges also. There are government, I can understand a private college, but a government institution, why not? Recently, I happened to go to Vardhaman Mahavir Open University, because these are some of the examples that we can think of. Vardhaman Mahavir Open University, Kota. I'm an academic advisor there now. So I told the library, nobody's coming. When NAC comes, what they will show? I said, if you make use of the place, earn money. What is this earn money? I said, everybody is preparing for the civil services. Everybody is preparing for the competitive exams. Everybody is preparing for JEE or some entrance exam. You provide them the books, right? And then give the facility. Charge 100 rupees or 200 rupees. If 200 people are, space is there, 200 into 100, you get a couple of lakhs. Why not? And then people, every time the library is full. And unfortunately, when I went, there was only one professional was there. I think that professional has retired. Now there is no recruitment. As usual, there is no recruitment. So looking into these things, what we find is the services which are available elsewhere, at least to be publicized, that will be easy. Because as I told you, the InfluNet, which is able to provide you lots of facilities, and which we can use. And now I'm sure you are aware, there are so many websites are there which can give you journal articles and also books. School books are freely available, right? And then lot of books are available, and databases are also available. So looking into these things, the InfluNet, I just wanted to say a word, because InfluNet is a very important, it plays a very important role. But unfortunately, you will find some funny things is when you look at the Indicat, same book, if it is, the catalog is from 5 libraries, you will find 5 types of catalog cards. I mean, the data book is same, but when they entered the data, it is wrong. Why? Somewhere the spelling is wrong, somewhere the full stops are wrong. So naturally, what shows? It doesn't show as 1 card, but it shows as 5 cards, right? And now that's where today they are also thinking, and I think they are providing facility for copy cataloging. This is what I also generally I'm trying to plead with the public libraries, but unfortunately nobody bothers, because the government never bothers for the libraries. At the academic institution, the principal doesn't bother. He makes so many colleges, the librarians are working in the office, right? And unfortunately, they are not allowing us to work in the library, because you are not in a position to publicize. You are not in a position to when you publicize and when you provide the correct services, the students demand, right? We are only just obliging, standing in front of the principal, just as if we are a servant. We should not do that, right? This is one area. But I wanted to caution about the predatory journals. Now, every quarter, every month, the Scopus Web of Science is removing lots of journals which are predatory, right? And top people, recently I saw, I think more than 50 editors, they have resigned from the publisher editing. They said, if you are not able to remove the predatory journals, what is the use? Because their names are used in the predatory journal without their notice. Predatory journal, I need not tell you much about it, where all fake articles, fake names, all so many things are there. The predatory journals, I'm sure the list was there. That gentleman was threatened, but now still you have a list, but how far it is updated, we don't know, right? I think they are trying to do, but the publishers are threatening them. This is one area where we are talking about the journals. And I just wanted to say that, I give an example of the journals. In the Europe, some of the libraries in the country, they stopped the subscription totally. They said, unless you discount so and so price, every year you are increasing. But ultimately what happened? They gave 1 year free of cost. And then they agreed, as I told you, that you pay the 5%, and then we will give you the publishing rights, publishing rights that without APC charges, but it has to be certified by the institution. So this is where you must also put pressure. Unfortunately, in India, we are accustomed to adjust. We are accustomed to accept, right? And that is the problem, because we are afraid of our bosses, and we are afraid of so many things, right? This is one area where we have to do. Then another important area where we can think about is, I'm sure the manuscript mission, National Manuscript Mission. You have so many manuscripts. I'm sure you must be having an idea that there are two types of catalogs are there. One is where the full source is available with NMM. Second is only catalog. They don't have access to the full document, right? And unfortunately, the old system is there. But still today, another 50 lakhs of manuscripts are available all over the country. If you come to Hyderabad, every Muslim gentleman has some manuscripts around. Now, there are so many people who are asking what to do with these books. We want to throw them out, because earlier it was they were keeping. Now space is a problem, maintenance is a problem, so they don't know what to do, and they are ready to give a free of cost, but not the manuscripts. But manuscripts, the other day recently I got some manuscripts. Nobody was accepting, right? Because they say we can't maintain. See the fun, and at the same time, National Manuscript Mission, even UGC, should some part they are giving money for digitization of these manuscripts. So that is where you have to also understand the value of the National Manuscript Mission and manuscripts. I just wanted to tell here, the IGNCA has started some sort of language courses. Why? Today, you take an example of a Brahmi Lipi. How many people know? And tomorrow, nobody can understand what is written in that unless somebody translates into that. So the translation has become much more essential today. And unless it is being translated, you will not be able to use the knowledge. If you come to one of the Oriental Manuscript Library in Usman University campus, you have the books on chemistry, you have the books on physics, you have books on mathematics, you have books on all the subjects. And nobody knows what is the knowledge available in that. See the fun. So we are talking about something picking up from the US or UK, but we are ignoring the knowledge that is there for years, centuries together, which may be useful. I'm not saying may or may not be useful, but which may be useful. And we have, unfortunately, we are ignoring the knowledge. Right? That is one area. So this is one area. And then I wanted to say something about the research support. See, the teachers know only the content that is related to a problem. They give the problem out of their experience, but they don't know where anything has been published in that particular area or not. This we will know through the literature survey. When you talk about the literature survey, they don't understand how do we literate. Now what is happening? They identify 30, 40 from the database and then put them there. The librarian knows much more. What is the literature survey? You survey the literature, identify the gaps. Gaps, how do you take a broad? From broad, you come to slowly to slower. Lastly, you come to a narrow area, and where you find the gap. And this gap will help you to identify the particular, practically a theme on which you can do research. And at the same time, literature survey helps you to know what are the practices, what are the inputs that have been done, what are the experiments they have done, what type of machinery is being used. All these things also helps you to do further research. Unfortunately, today, when you look into the thesis, you find 100, 150, 200 articles, but how they are, just simply you find that word that is being mentioned in the dissertation and you find the article, but they may or may not be relevant because they are never read it. Librarian can help. Now, there is also a new software has come, LitMap. Today at 1 o'clock, I am going to attend a webinar, and that particular LitMap is helping the to do the literature survey. If somebody wants, they are giving 3 months free trial also. Otherwise, you can attend the webinar also, right? That is possible. And I'm just giving software. And then most of our people and the teachers, neither the teachers nor the scholars know, but the librarian knows what is how to write a citation, how to write a reference, right? And how to make use of the end note, or how do you make use of the Mendeley, right? All these things the librarian knows. Why can't the librarian run a program of half a day to the research scholar and become a share, become a tiger, become a lion? You identify, how do you do literature survey? And then when they write the content comes from the different resources. Why can't a librarian help them identify, how do you identify the content, how do you identify the resources, and how do you pick them up, and how do you write the citation? This skill is known to librarians, but they are not taking the lead. They are not taking the lead. That is major problem. If they take the lead, naturally it will be more useful. Similarly, there are when you talk about the research, starting from identification of the theme, identification of the content, and identification of the different related resources, writing the bibliography or references, using the particular, because when you write the references, you must use a particular standard. It may be APA, or it may be what is it, MLA. You have to write, and that software helps us very easily. So these softwares are known to librarians. I know that everything is not known to every individual, but it is not difficult in a library where 3-4 people are there. Somebody knows something, some other knows. In the case of a college, you ask one of your friend who is within the city or nearby, invite them, ask them to speak. That helps a lot for the scholars. And once the scholar gets a benefit, and he will never forget the librarian, and librarian becomes a lion in the institution. Unfortunately, this is what I say. We know everything, but we are not making use this as an arrow to kill the negative approach to the library. We can do many things which are not known to the library, which are not known to the teachers, which are not known to the principal. I can quote an example. Recently, last year, we donated 20 libraries for 12,000 worth of books. We used the center minister to come, and they were quoting, what do we do with the library? Why do we need the library when internet is there, when Google is there? They don't understand what is the Google. We see every item that is listed in the Google need not be authentic, first thing. Second thing, what happens when I want to write an article? I search, same keyword is searched by others also. And you get 20, 30, 40 based on 50 up to 50 documents. And I take the first means I think more authentic. It is not true. Right? This exactly business is a big business. They call leads. Right? What is the leads, for example? If I want to, I'm selling let's say, refrigerator. So a customer searches for refrigerator. Somebody may search as a fridge. Somebody may search as a cool box. See, same refrigerator they are using with a different terminology. So if they use the refrigerator, then my shop will show. But if they use the fridge, because I'm not using that terminology, my shop will not show. So what happens? The Google sells the leads. What are the different types of words are used to search? People are searching for refrigerator. All those words are used by me as a keyword for my sale. So whatever the word they may use, my shop will come. But Tripathi shop will not come because he is using only one key term. I am using 5 key terms which are being used by people. That is one area. So naturally, I will come. The second is they can play a key role to see that my shop comes first or my shop comes second, right? Because they make money out of this. So naturally, what happens? We think the first is the best, but not true. Similarly, the document is also first is best, not true. Unless you look into that, we have learned when you talk about the reference sources, selection of reference sources in those days. I don't know what happens today. Authority, scope, right? We used to learn, right? How do you search? How do you select the resource? Authority, who is the author, who is the publisher, when it was published, what is his background, then what is the scope, what is the treatment. There are 6 points used to be there, right? Similar things you can also use In the case of when you search in the Google, identify and search what is it, what is inside. Don't take the first document as the first, because we have seen when we organize the conferences, unfortunately, 4 people wrote the article or 5 people wrote the article. Same, nothing, no difference at all. Why? Because everybody searched with the same key terminology, key terms, and first five or 10 they searched, they put them, just cut and paste. That's how it happens. Now today, we have an advantage of AI, right? It can do a lot of things. You can ask them to write an essay, right? You can paraphrasing also you can do, copy and paraphrasing also you can do, right? A lot of things are possible today. But only thing I suggest, when you use it, try to use your knowledge so that you edit it carefully, that you don't forget. Otherwise, today we are talking about plagiarism. Unfortunately, plagiarism also, we know a lot of mischief is being played by the universities. Instead of 30%, they are trying to show it at 12% by using certain colons, commas, etc. That I'm sure most of you must be knowing. So it shows only 6%, but actually it is 60%, right? And all these things are mischief is being done, and our librarian knows what to do, what not to do, where to stop. But as I said, our people, Sarve Jano Sukhino Bhavantu, we help everybody, we support everybody, we never oppose anybody, we smile, and if somebody wants to come, we will help. If somebody is not coming, we don't help. This is where the image of the librarian is coming down. People started saying, why do we need a librarian by paying a professor scale? Do we need a librarian to pay so much salary of 3 lakhs or 4 lakhs? What teacher is talking, you don't forget, because teacher community is a big group. Librarian community is a small group compared to the teachers in the institutions. So you can't say anything to the teacher whether teachers or not, whether he knows or not. You can't say anything because it's a big group. But librarians in an institution, maybe 1 or 2. In the university, maybe 10 people are there. 10 people cannot fight with the 1,000 teachers. So therefore, you have to identify the strategy with which you will be in a position to move forward and provide the service, get recognition, and agenda apna uncha rahe, librarian ka agenda uncha rahe. This is what you have to do. Lot of strategies are required, and I only sincerely suggest is, whenever you meet, discuss these things. See, everybody has a varied experience. These experiences are useful to everybody. So why can't we discuss all these things? Unfortunately, conference, the student prepares for 1 month, 15 days, writes an article, there they give 3 minutes. In 3 minutes, what he explains, what he understands, what he can make understanding, and what type of article it is, who understands that, you are just trying to make fool of the young gentleman. They struggle, they write, and they say, given 2 minutes, and before the 2 minutes only, they say, chairman sir, this sir, that sir, 2 minutes over. So therefore, we need to change our strategies. Unless we need to change our strategies, we will not be able to grow. And the Dr. Ranganathan, late Ranganathan, thanks to him, he has given us the status of a professor, a reader, a lecturer, and all that. Today, again, there is the opportunity, the chances are coming in that we are likely to lose. Already NIT lost it. IITs have lost. Now they are talking about not librarian, manager, something like that. And their scale has come down actually in Ahmedabad also, if I'm not wrong. In Mumbai also, if I'm not wrong. NITs, I know there are a few places where they have come down. The directors they are trying to cut the salary scales and the status of the librarians, just because we are not trying to publicize ourselves. We are not trying to tell what we are doing. We are silent, and that is why they are trying to stab us and back. So with these things, I think I must stop somewhere here. And there are a lot of things. Please, whenever you meet, you discuss the practical problem. You discuss the teaching. You discuss the education because you have a right. You discuss about the skills. You discuss what can we do, how we will do, how we will cooperate, how we will resource sharing, all these things. And this is what I wanted to say. Thank you very much to everybody for hearing me for all these three, because this topic is such a big one. Any number of hours you can talk. There are so many experiences are there. at every stage. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much for taking all of us throughout the academic journey in the library, and also throwing the lights on the different challenges and issues we may face. I think it is one of the best talk ever I have heard, sir, especially on the academic libraries. And on behalf of all the participants and my own behalf, sir, please, we are expressing sincere thanks for delivering such a useful talk and throwing lights on the different aspects and guiding us that how we can overcome the challenges, how we can overcome the issues. And one of the best part of the Tony's speech was that make the strategies, discuss with the professionals, share the experience, guide other professionals. Sir, wonderful. Really, it has been very good to hear throughout your speech. If you allow, sir, can we open the session for question and answer?
Sure. I'll be happy.
Now, I am requesting all the participants to please enter your question in the chat box, if any. So the same will be displayed on the screen, and it will be taken and answered by sir. I can see a lot of comments, sir, in appreciation. It has been wonderful lecture, wonderful evening, sir. Madhuri Kumari is writing. I am requesting all the participants to please write the question in the chat box. I think, sir, all are satisfied with your lecture, so they
It's a
find
general talk, no? General,
they
it's a
find
general
difficult
talk.
to frame the question. And sir, you have given enough input, so it is difficult to get the query, frame the question. But I'm getting, sir, one question from Dunya Vidyarthi: How to make a career in librarian after MLISC?
Yeah. It's a big question because everybody joins into the program for a job, right? And today we have to understand the reality. First thing is everything is negatively, things are flowing against the librarians, library profession, because of the technology, because of our attitude, because we are obliging everybody, and people call librarians issue book written books. And second thing is, unfortunately, we don't have skills. This is where skills, because the education system, library science education system, is very bad. I'm not talking about all the institutions. Majority of the institutions, they don't have teachers. For example, in my university, there was no teacher for almost 1 year. Just recently, one of my colleagues who went to Central University of Kerala, he came back. So he's a single teacher. And we have 4 part-time teachers. The gentlemen, they studied 50 years ago. There was no other learning from them. They go on talking about, for example, TC. They get the list of the numbers. They go on explaining. Explaining the whole. But there are a lot of changes have come in DC also, right? And when we talk about the DC, we also talk about the copycat line. How we will be able to get the DC numbers also? They must explain, but they don't know how to do that, right? So now the question is, recently you must have studied, only 39% of the IIT graduates got the jobs, and only 42% of the IIM graduates have got the jobs. So librarian is not different from them. IIT and IIM, they are premier institutions. The students who pass them from there, they are not in a position to get the jobs. The question of MLIS is not indifferent. It's the same status. But if we prove that library is an essential, library information service will be helpful for the quality of education, for improving the quality of the thesis and learning process. All these things will definitely help them to change the mind of the administrators, academic administrators, and the government. You will be surprised to know in my state, one gentleman runs 4 public libraries located in 4 different villages. So he goes one day, Monday somewhere, Tuesday some other place, Wednesday somewhere else, Thursday somewhere else, and today, one day is holiday. And ultimately, where he is going, nobody knows. And attenders are running the library. Why? See, that is the problem. And this problem because people are not able to realize the need for the libraries, and we must be, unless we educate them, unless we provide them the idea that libraries can do a lot of things. I wrote a proposal to Minister Culture asking him to start uh, Pradhan Mantri Gram Granthalaya Yojana. I requested him to start that, but they don't bother. I told indirectly also, if you start, you can share your literature through the libraries, and especially agriculture in the rural libraries, right? And we are getting in a library cess here. All that is eaten away by the municipalities, and nobody gets the money. So unless the people demand for the libraries, we will not be able to get job. And at least in Telangana, last 2 years, we got more than 1,500 jobs. But open universities flood. They open the floodgates. So that is the problem. So therefore we are not indifferent. And as I told you, private universities private colleges which are giving 70%, when it goes to the government, they look at the merit, they get the job, but not the student who studies in the regular university, learns a lot of things compared to a private college. We are helpless unless our already working friends make an effort to create a wonderful image about the library, create a feeling that a library minus library education institution cannot run. We will not be able to provide the quality education unless the existing librarians prove that, existing professionals prove that, our status will become much more worse. And the unemployment is common in every profession, including the library. But hopefully, 19 states are having Library Act, but only except Karnataka, Tamil Nadu, and Telangana. Telangana also partly gone, except Karnataka and Tamil Nadu. Public libraries are not working anywhere. Why can't the profession? What is this happening? Indian Library Association, IS League, these, that, so many associations are there. They fight for themselves. What are they doing? Why can't they put a dharna? Why can't they bring out everywhere conference, conference, eating, saying hello, and then going away? But why can't they take up? Why do we need so many associations? Can't we become one association? See, these questions, if I raise, people will curse me. So therefore, it's a question which will be difficult to answer about the employment. Sorry, my dear friend.
Sir, another question from Ms. Madhuri Kumari. Kindly give some comment on what strategies can academic libraries use to make sure everyone has fair access to digital material, even with restrictive licensing rule.
Yeah. Hello, Madhuriji. How are you? Nice to see you here. See, the strategies in academic libraries, as I told you, there are, the 3 types are there. One is subscribe, second is free, third is open. Now, whatever you are subscribed is fine. Second is, as I said, articles, books. First of all, we should identify these websites where the journal articles are available, where the books are available. This is second. Third is, as long as you have a resource sharing program, at least locally or state-wise. No, for example, somebody from a friend of mine who is a lecturer in Calcutta, she was looking for some source. So she asked me. I asked University of Hyderabad, and they sent it. So this is because of the connection. Why can't the college libraries, university libraries develop a connection? What I was talking about, the college making a WhatsApp group. That similarly connection, so that if you put that into the WhatsApp group or in a Google group, somebody will respond. That is possible. So why can't we? That's why 3 types. One is subscribe, second is free, and the third is earlier we were talking about interlibrary loan, but we call it as a resource sharing. That is possible, and you will be able to get everything without any problem. And the last one, not least, if the sources, some of the sources, for example, statistics database is not accessible elsewhere. So you ask your scholar to go to the library, for example, Indian Statistical Institute, University of Hyderabad, they procure the statistical database. Let them come to Hyderabad, let them go to Calcutta, or let them go to ISI elsewhere, and then make use that facility you can create through your interconnection. So this is the fourth one, where the sources cannot be transferred, but they can help you by identifying taking out the data, and they can send it. This is what I can say. I'm sure, Madhuriji, I think I must have responded to your question.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. You have given us a lot of input. I think anyone sees this video, they will definitely, I think all the doubts and questions, they will get answer from your this excellent session, sir. So I can't see any more questions, sir. Thank you very much. Please accept our sincere thanks
Thank you.
for accepting
Thank
the
you very much.
invitation and delivering a wonderful talk, sir, and guiding all of us to bring some changes in the libraries with the collaboration efforts and making some strategies. I hope, sir, in future also you will keep guiding us, and
Sure.
we will
I have only
get.
one. I have only one suggestion. I have only one suggestion. Don't feel shy. Don't hesitate to ask your colleague, your fellow librarian, fellow professional for any information, any guidance, any help for the sake of your users and your library. Never hesitate. Never feel shy. This is what I want to say. But you don't. He may be a big man. He may be a small man. Right? Don't hesitate. Yesterday about the lead map, I sent at least 30, 40 people asking them. I know nobody uses that webinar. Nobody uses that. There are so many things that I saw the other day. One, you can add just an annex. You are able to get at least 2 million journal articles free of cost. Just free. But if you want more facilities, you have to pay. Imagine, so many things are coming. I conducted a webinar on that also. Unfortunately, people just hear and then go away. Anyway, thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Once again, thank you. And we will again, sir, connect, and we'll
Sure.
keep getting your
Sure. Thank you. Thanks a lot.
blessings and guidance. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Good night
Thank
to
you.
all. Good night, all
Good
the
night.
participants for joining. Okay, sir. Thank you all, one and all. We are closing the session now. We will meet again in another session. So thank you all for joining and connecting, and uh, we will have another session on next Saturday if possible, or I will announce uh, the name and also the topic soon. So good night to all. Please take care of yourself. Take care of uh, your friends, family, everyone. Good night, one and all.